Good afternoon. Welcome to Stretford Paddock. That's Alex. This is Steve.
We're wearing hats.
We're wearing hats. We wear hats on Fridays. This is the press conference reaction. A little bit of worrying news in the old presser there, wasn't there, Alex?
Nah, a little bit.
Little bit.
Injuries.
Not a lot,
not
but
a lot.
Like a little bit. Little bit.
I'm not that stressed out, but, a few unexpected ones.
Is that because it's Friday?
It's Friday. It's Friday and we're wearing hats. It's Hat Friday, so we're all happy. But, no, it is a little bit because there was a few injuries and you go, I wasn't expecting him to be out.
Yeah.
And you went, that's a bit shit. But few players coming back, not a little bit.
Well, let's go through what he said then.
Yeah.
So he said Pogba. Who else was it?
McTominay. Pogba. Shall I read the quote for you?
Yeah, because I didn't write that bit down.
You didn't write that
I just
down.
tweeted it instead.
He said, Scott and Paul, they didn't train this morning, not on the grass. Very unlikely for the weekend. He also mentioned Marcus, Victor and Aaron. That's Marcus Rashford, Victor Lindelof and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Should be okay, but not 100%. Lucas started his rehab. That's Luke Shaw, your favourite player. On the grass, not with the squad. So,
hang on, that wasn't all he mentioned. He said Jesse's out of isolation. And for starters, Jesse, we need to have a word, mate, about your nut placement on that turkey.
It wasn't the nut placement. It was the fact that he didn't take the pistachios out of their shells.
Wild. Anyway, less about Jesse's turkeys, the better. Apparently, Phil Jones is out until Christmas, after Christmas sometime. One, how?
I don't think even he knows now. And I think Ollie's just kind of going, he's injured.
And he's sitting at home eating his cornflakes like...
Do you think that's more to protect the other players? Like if we just say to him, yeah, you're injured, Phil. But I feel fine. No, you can't train today.
Doctor said you're injured.
Doctor says you're injured, so you can't go 2-footing people in training all day and like dropping plates and things.
What an absolute waste of a career.
Featuring the captain. Better than Duncan Edwards.
I mean, Fergie's allowed a couple of clangers. That's a bad one.
It's not great. It really wasn't great.
That's a bad one. Speaking of not great, you want to see what Joe's wearing?
Yeah. Join in Late Night Live tonight to see what show at 10 p.m. The final Late Night Live. It will be replaced by a different show, not quite the same show, but something maybe better. Not better, different.
Anyway, forget about that.
He's wearing boots.
The B-level shows on this channel. Let's talk about this. So, Scott McTominay is one that I thought might feature. I didn't actually have him in my predicted 11. And Paul Pogba was obviously one that we all want to see, at least given the opportunity to come back. I mean, we've basically been without him for a season and a half at the moment, it feels like. Not really acceptable, but annoying.
It is, and it was, the thing is, before lockdown, the first lockdown that was
Tiger King lockdown.
Before Tiger King lockdown,
that.
There was people starting to say, do we need Paul Pogba? He's not that good, is he? Because we've got Bruno now, and he's much better than any other human on the planet.
Dead good, isn't he?
Got compared to Ronaldo today, which is a bit much, but he's very, very, very good, Bruno. But then Pogba came back after that, and you went, oh no, Paul Pogba's really good. Like, we need him in the team. We look better with Paul Pogba in the team. But then start this season, more injuries. The Rona, I think, has knocked him back a bit as well. And there's a bit of a worry. The only good news out of this press conference around Paul Pogba is that Ollie said that the injury is separate to the injury he got last year, because that's going through everyone's mind. And ankles is one of them. We talked to, I think, was it on the watch on? We were like, ankles is one of them dodgy ones that it might never fix.
Yeah, I know.
But this seems
I've got an unfixable ankle myself.
Yes, exactly. So it's a different injury, which is kind of good news and bad news all at the same time. But it seems like that's maybe something they can fix. They're not as worried as they were last year, where he obviously went for it. Did he go for an operation in the end on it last year?
You've got people in the comments here saying Pogba really good, don't be silly. I don't know where this narrative's come from now. That we've
That's us.
Cheers, Cam. But like, this is because we've seen Bruno go and perform, and everyone, there's a phrase I'm seeing a lot of, which is that's what we thought we were getting with Pogba. I mean, it's a totally different footballer, really. But Paul Pogba's still a top draw footballer. Yeah. Now, whether or not we're able to find the correct role in a football team for him, that's another thing altogether. But you can't look at him and go, not even as good as Fred, because he's a lot better than Fred. You can't even look at him and say, he's not as good as Van der Beek, because he's a lot better than Van der Beek. But if Van der Beek's the right thing for this team, he's the right thing for this team. And I think that's where people get lost in translation a little bit. This was always the case. That Real Madrid Galacticos team, they ended up buying Thomas Gravesen to give them a bit of balance.
Yeah.
Is Thomas Gravesen better than Hierro? Is he better than Zidane? Is he better than Figo, David Beckham? No. But he's the guy that offers a little bit of something that they need in a team. And maybe Van der Beek, maybe Fred, maybe McTominay, maybe Matic give us a little bit of something that we don't get when you play maybe Bruno or
that's
Pogba.
That's the thing. People look at him and go, well, he did it at Juventus, he did this. But look, Juventus had, number one, it's the Italian league.
Pretty good
slower.
at the time.
They had
Marquisio, Pirlo, Vidal.
You had the players around Paul Pogba that made Paul Pogba really good. And then they say, he does it for France well. Yeah, he's got Kante, Matuidi and Griezmann around him. Like,
it's not bad.
That's not bad either. and
international football's shit.
And international football's not great either. But there is the argument to have that the way that Ole's kind of building his team, the way he's going for this 4-2-3-1, maybe Paul Pogba doesn't perfectly fit into that system, which he probably doesn't. So you are going to lose something in Paul Pogba wherever you put him. You're going to lose if you put him in the 10 role. You're going to lose Bruno to start with. I don't think it's as good. If you put him in the 2, if you put him as the deep line player, you don't see him going forward as much. You don't see him doing what you thought you were going to get from Paul Pogba, which is what people are saying Bruno is. You're not getting him go forward. You're not getting him to do that. Doesn't mean he's a bad player. It doesn't mean that you don't want him at Manchester United, because I still want him at Manchester United. You've seen him come on. He changed the game in Paris. He came on and added us that little bit of extra quality that made them go, fucking hell, these are really good at football. You know, he had them sit back. He changed in the Leipzig game. He was very, very good. You know, he conducted things and we looked really good with Paul Pogba on the pitch. You don't want Paul Pogba not in the United team. Now, if he's going to be a squad player, he's an expensive squad player.
You're not going to. His agent's not going to allow him to be a squad player. There's a comment here from Tamada, and it says Pogba is world class and the only World Cup winner in our squad, and we need that type of prestige and players in our squad. No, we don't. You tell me who was our World Cup winner in 2008 when we were the best team on the planet, and who was our World Cup winner in 1999 was the best team on the planet.
I don't think you need
necessarily need a World Cup winner. International football's bullshit, mate, and it's an accident of birth.
Yeah,
Dimitar Berbatov, right? He's better than Ralph Milne never was. He's better than Mark Robbins.
Ryan Giggs was never going to win an international.
Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you get players that come from the most random countries and they're the best player their country's ever seen. Zlatan. Yeah. You can't tell me the character of Zlatan's better than Kleberson won a World Cup. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you're someone that won a World Cup doesn't mean it means you was fortunate enough to come from a country which is one of the 4 or 5 that's even got any sort of hope of winning a World Cup.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really.
Yeah. And on that as well, we're not again. Steve's not saying that means that Paul Pogba's a bad player and shouldn't be a Manchester United player and all these different things. There may need to be different players come in so that United play better week in, week out.
It's a blend. It's finding the right balance.
It's finding the right blend. Whether that has Paul Pogba in or not, it doesn't change the fact that Paul Pogba is a very good footballer. It doesn't change the fact that he is. Whether he fits into the system, whether he fits into all these different things, I don't think that is the case right now. But in the future, who knows what goes on? And this is the other thing, is that you don't know whether there's going to be a change in manager. There may be, in 2 years' time, a change in manager, and then he wants to put a different player. He wants Paul Pogba in there, and if we've sold him...
Well, it's the same thing with Daley Blind.
Yeah.
Louis van Gaal goes, Daley Blind, top, really intelligent footballer, one of the most important players in my team. Mourinho comes in and goes, a centre-half, that's 5'10", and weak as piss, and slow, see ya.
But imagine him being in the 2 holding midfielders now for United as an option. Imagine him being a left-back option when we want to do it. Imagine being the left of a 3 that he wants to play a lot of. I think Daley Blind fits in loads of positions in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team. I think he probably goes next to Maguire quite well. I think he also goes next to Bailly quite well as a centre-half. I think he worked really well with Chris Smalling.
He made Chris Smalling look world-class for about 8 weeks.
It made Chris Smalling, you can do what you're good at, which is win the ball, do the tracking back, but just give me the ball. I'll do the football side of things.
I'll do that.
You do the
you don't dislocate your hips.
Things. Yeah. So that's the Chris Smalling dilemma fixed. Ollie also went on and mentioned about the front line, because obviously in the midweek we saw Marcus Rashford on the right wing, which was new, hadn't seen before. So he talked about who's going to play and where, even if Mason comes in, where does he fit into that? And he said, of course, the game against Istanbul, we had the spaces which we could suit the opposition. The game suited Marcus and Anthony. Mason can develop into the top number 9 in the world. Ederson has come in and shown he can a different way of playing there. They're all capable of playing in these positions. Now, we're going to play Southampton at the weekend. Marcus isn't fully fit. What do you reckon that means in terms of how we're going to line up? And has he hinted anything there that makes you think this is how things are going to change? Or do you think that he's going to just go back to what he knows?
No, I don't really think he hints that much, to be honest, in the press conferences about his team selections and stuff. I've been saying drop Marcus for a few weeks because I know the extent of that shoulder injury, and I don't think you're getting a full Marcus Rashford out of it. I don't think he can run with it. I don't think he can. One of the good things that you see about Marcus Rashford is actually going shoulder to shoulder with people. He's stronger than he looks because he's skinny, innit? Let's be real. But he's building a bit of a frame underneath being extremely slim, and he's a strong athlete. And I think you take away from one of his biggest threats by not having him running maximum because he can't move too well. And I think his bravery has always been something which has stood out for him as a player. And if he's injured, he's going to be a bit more timid. He's going to protect his shoulder. He's not going to go in full-blooded. So I would drop him. I haven't predicted him to drop him because I don't think he will. And I think he was asked in the press conference as well about, can Cavani and Van der Beek play after they've just played a full game? And he was like, it's 5 days.
Yep.
Tuesday to Sunday's a good rest.
It is good, and it's a change for United. He mentioned as well about, is this the whole fixture congestion suiting the lower down teams? And I think it is. I think there's a reason why there's a lot of teams up towards the top of the table that shouldn't be. Because,
undoubtedly. European football
they're getting the rest. And, Champions League usually isn't as bad because usually it's Wednesday, Sunday or Tuesday, Sunday, which isn't the worst thing. Like I said, 5 days rest. The lads have had a day off, which they didn't get. But because of this fixture congestion and because of everything being on TV means that there's no 4 games at 3 o'clock anymore. 4 or 5 games at 3 o'clock on a Saturday means that United are playing 12:30 against Everton and things like that. So it is suiting the lower down teams. He's also mentioned, he talked about how Southampton play, and he said that they are he got asked about their physicality. He said it's similar to when Jurgen came to Liverpool, like pressing, front foot, aggressive. Do you think with that pressing, do you think that leads to who's going to play in midfield? Because I've always worried about Fred picking the ball up off the centre halves against pressing teams. I've always worried Paul Pogba, surprisingly as well, for someone that's so good on the ball, gets pickpocketed a lot obviously he's not going to play.
I think that's just a laziness thing with him.
Yeah, I think there is.
When he's on it, he's looking around and he's scanning.
He's unbelievable.
Good luck getting the ball off him, but sometimes he just lack of concentration.
And I think he likes a bit more time. I think he's one of those players that if he has a little bit of time on the ball, he likes to take it and things like that. And against Southampton, but do you think that hints towards I prefer Matic in that position, and do you think that hints towards maybe Matic starting?
Well, my 11 that I predicted,
I
don't think we've got my 11 here to put on the screen, but I went with back 4 of Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Lindelof, although with him talking again about Lindelof, I do wonder now whether Axel might get in there. And Tellez obviously at left back. I went with the 2 being Matic and Van der Beek. Matic because they play 4-4-2. You want someone that's maybe going to help deal with Che Adams because you don't want Walcott and Adams going one-on-one with Maguire and Lindelof. You want maybe an extra. You always want an extra defender in there. Because they go 4-4-2, the 2 wingers are going to press onto the fullbacks. So Matic, he's very good at that defensive screen. You add him in there to be the floating man to help pick somebody up, so you've got another person free. You go with Van der Beek because, yes, their midfield presses, but you can play through that press. They're not infallible. And one of the weaknesses that we've had, Tottenham snotted them the same way they snotted us. I think it was 5-2 against Southampton when they snotted them. One of the things that they went and did time and time again is exactly what they did against us. And I think we have to replicate Tottenham's tactic against us, against Southampton, the way Tottenham did it. And that's because it's Vestergaard and I can't remember the other guy's name at centre-half. They're slow. They're a bit Maguire-ish. Call them a fridge or a wardrobe if you like. That's what I see get slung at Maguire. But because Southampton like to play the ball on the floor and they like to have that pressing game, very much like ourselves at times, they have a very high defensive line, which means that if you've got Marcus, Mason, and actually even Cavani, not for his pace, but for his hold-up ability to be able to bring those in.
Correct. And all over the top,
I think you can get in behind them.
Yep.
But you have to move the ball quickly. So Van der Beek was the guy that I was like, you put Van der Beek in here because that forward ball that he was showing on Tuesday night would absolutely massacre this Southampton team. Yeah. So I went with Matic and Van der Beek as my midfield too. Obviously Bruno to come on and get a penalty, that's his game. Cavani, because I thought his link-up play was really good, and I think if one of the centre-halves decides to stay with him because he was dropping in real deep, if one of the centre-halves decides to stay with him, here's the thing, because they're playing 4-4-2, this is one of the advantages you get when a team playing against you plays 4-4-2. It's a game of chess. It's moving your right pieces into the right places at the right time. Because they're playing 4-4-2, meaning two of their players are going forward, that means that they can't necessarily go man-for-man with you in midfield, which means when a team plays a 4-3-3, for example, they're able to drop their number 6 onto your centre forward, denying space, making it harder for him. When they're playing 4-4-2, they're a lot squarer. Yep. They're a lot easier to find gaps for. So if Cavani comes off the defensive line to hold it up, to win a header, to flick it on, to bring somebody else into the game, they either leave him to it, which is dangerous, or one of those, let's say Vestergaard, comes close to him, gets touch tight to him to try and win it off him at source, and if he doesn't win it off him at source, they're going to have created an enormous gap by dragging him out of position. So I'm happy playing against teams who play 4-4-2, but you've got to have good ball players in the team. Yep. And that's why I'm pretty glad I might not be seeing McTominay for this, because as good as he is, that's not his game. I think Van der Beek is an intelligent Carrick-style defensive screen because he does sit nice and deep, but when he gets on the ball, his first instinct is forward. You'll win the ball off Ward-Prowse. You'll win the ball off Romeu just inside our half. When you do that, if the first thing you're able to do is to find Cavani in space with a forward ball, you're going to carve Southampton open. And I think you can score a few goals against them like that. But you do have to be wary of them in the same rule. If we go too high of a line, Maguire's not getting near Walcott defensively. Yep. So there are things to watch out. You give away a free kick on the outside of the box, just outside the box. Ward-Prowse's going to stick it in the bins. He's very good at free kicks. He's very good dictating play for them. He's very good at putting crosses in from wide free kicks. They're a dangerous team. And they're a good technical team, and considering that they got smacked around,
you see there they've not lost. I think it's something like 7 or 8 games in all competitions.
They're a very good side. You can't underestimate.
And also, I think Ollie mentions after they got battered 9-0, I think it was by Leicester last year. Fair play for keeping hold of Vestergaard. But since then, I think they've gone on a ridiculous. They are one of the form teams in that 30-40 games since then. They've been very, very good. And you see there, drawing at home to Wolves, drawing with Chelsea, beating Everton, who were on a decent bit of run at that form, beating Aston Villa, who were also on a bit of form. Aston Villa game was like a game of basketball. Yeah, and then beating Newcastle. They're in a bit of form. They're going to have a bit more rest than us. Now, you've mentioned there about Matic and Van der Beek. Do you think it's a little bit harsh? Do you think it'd be harsh on Fred for it not to see him play? Now, I know it doesn't quite fit the system, but he's played in the last 3 wins. I wouldn't
very,
call it
very
good.
I wouldn't call him dropped. I'd call him rested.
So
he played every game.
Yeah, he's played every game. We've also got Paris Saint-Germain in the week.
You know what I'm saying?
So we might need him for them.
That's more the game that you would see Matic and Fred and McTominay playing and be happy days with.
Yeah, definitely. And
this is what it comes to, man. This is where you utilise your squad. You got the right tool for the right job. Yeah. You try and put a screw in with an hammer, you're going to look stupid.
Now, it's nearly December, Steve. Now, when it's nearly December, it's nearly January. So now it means that people start asking about transfers, which everybody loves. And someone asked Ollie today, are you expecting a busy transfer window? And do you know what response he gave? Because you know what he was going to do in that? He was going to say, I'm going to sign Jadon Sancho and all this. What he actually said, unsurprisingly, hard to predict the financial situations of other teams. I don't predict a lot of ins or outs. The football world has changed. Depends on injury situations. I'm very happy with my squad. We are getting stronger. I feel I'm in a good position.
Do you know how many people are going to take him at face value of saying I'm happy with my
Do you know how many times every manager in the world has said those exact... Well,
Jose doesn't say that, but
doesn't say that. But do you know how many times that response of, don't know, it's COVID and I like my team is going to be said by every single manager in every single league in the world in the next 2 months? But Ollie's one they're going to be... He likes Jesse Lingard. That's the response he's going to get.
Don't like his fucking cooking.
Don't like his cooking, but that's where people are going to take that from. Is he loves his squad. He doesn't think we need any players.
Yeah, people take it at face value. No,
Yeah.
he said, "Oh no, I want Ashley Young to stay." At the same time, was double legging him out the door.
Yeah.
He walked in and almost. This is how it went down. He walked in the dressing room and went, "Fellaini, son, don't take your coat off.
You're gone.
Fucking sling it." But then in the press conference, it's like, "Oh, we don't really want Marouane to go." Look at his actions.
Yep.
We don't want Sanchez to go, and he's like, "Get him out."
Yep.
Lukaku, we'd love him to get fucked. Like,
Yeah.
watch his actions, not his words.
Exactly. But these questions are going to start coming up, and this is where people are going to start reacting in press conferences around January. They're going to say he's happy, he's all this. He's not going to comment on things, and this is why we do this. Is that look at what he says in this press conference. He's going to mention. They're going to ask him about transfers from now until the end of January,
Yep.
and Ollie's going to say, "I'm happy with my squad." I can guarantee that every single time he's happy with it.
He's going to bat
And
him away. He's not
say,
going to answer him, essentially.
no one's going to go and no one's going to come in. But I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe people go out on loan.
Oh yeah, when Matt won the World Cup, we're back.
I wouldn't be surprised to see. Well, obviously Traore's coming back in from Atalanta.
Yeah, but he doesn't even play for Atalanta.
He's not going to play for them, so he's not really going to play. He's going to obviously try and do what he did last year and if he could get like a Bruno style player in, he will. But I don't think
Look, every manager in the world wants more players.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola wants more players. The cheeky bastard, right? Every manager in the world.
Yeah, but he's good at transfers, isn't he, Guardiola?
No. Honestly, I think your average knobhead in the pub would have a better success rate than Guardiola, especially with $1 billion. It's mad, right? You have a team that can win a league, yeah? They fell off because the Guardiola news came in and Pellegrini well phoned it in for the last 4 months, right? But that team, let's be real, had won the league.
And we're in the
previous
semi-finals of the Champions League.
Correct, right? Now, if you give me a team that's recently won a league a year ago and give me a £70 million player in every position or £80 million player in every position, I'll win as a league. Or maybe I'll even get us to a European Cup final as well.
You'd expect it, wouldn't you?
£70 million player in every position on top of what you already had that won the league and got to the semi-finals. A £70 million player in every position to go from the semi-finals to a final.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
And this is the thing. I mean,
And you can cut my Jacobs off if I
I don't want to talk about City too much, but I do like laughing at him. And the thing is, when you looked at what Guardiola did, those 2 seasons, we went, unbelievable points tally, they won all them trophies. But then when you step back and look at it and go, in 4 seasons, he's going to win 2 titles and a couple of domestic cups. With that much budget, with that squad, that is shit.
Yep.
And you'd have expected, whether it was Pellegrini coming in, you could have put any manager in the world into that seat.
I can get Drozdon to the Premier League. But we spent $2 billion on a team, yeah? They spent $1 billion before he got there and $1 billion since he's been there in the last 4 years. It's obviously gone hyper exponential spending. You could spend how long they've been there now? 12 years.
Yeah.
If you just put $2 billion into Drozdon, you might have won a Premier League in 12 years.
It's a lot.
Take them all away from the dizzy heights of the Northern Premier League First Division.
So, the Guardiola thing is mad. And this is the thing, going back to it, transfers every single time. He's going to get asked it. He's going to get asked who you're going to sign. And he's going to say, I like that. You know, the most he's going to get is, yeah, he's dead good at football. That's all he's going to get. On the likes of Jadon
they'll
Sancho.
start getting giddier and throwing names at him to ask him.
Yeah, of course they will. They're going to mention Sancho.
Oh, of course, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Shit like that. Anyway, Wayne Rooney makes his managerial debut this weekend.
Yeah.
He's been talking in his press conference there. He's took over the Derby reins. Like, that wasn't the most obvious thing that was going to happen since he joined them.
Yeah, of course he was going to try.
If Derby win and United don't this weekend, how many articles are going to be linking Rooney with the United job on Sunday morning? Or Monday morning, should we say?
There's going to be a lot.
All of them.
There's going to be all of them. There's going to be a lot. And especially going to go, well, look what happened with Lampard. You know, it's the perfect proving ground for him. If he can do it at Derby, he can go and do it in the Premier League.
But the thing is, Lampard couldn't do it in the Premier League last year.
Didn't do it at Derby either.
And not necessarily do it at Derby. Suddenly he's an amazing manager because he got 6 signings. It isn't, is it? Let's be real.
It's all about the players. Like,
it's all about recruitment. Recruitment's the most important thing.
It doesn't matter how good you rate Frank Lampard as a coach. He could be he could be a good coach. He might go on to win things and things like that. But most of these players, most of these managers need the players to do anything that they want to do. Do you think?
Right, fuck this noise. Like the video if you think we're beating Southampton on Sunday. Downvote the video if you think we're not beating Southampton. And I'm not talking until you've all done it.
Just like the video.
And he's not talking either. Like the video. And, right, I want your score predictions in. For what score it's going to be against the Southampton.
The Southampton match.
The Southampton, yeah. We're beating Southampton, says Harris Baig. Hope Ollie chooses Van der Beek in the team against, he's done quotations, Southampton. Don't know what that means. We got a 7-1 from Ernest Wang. Stop it. A couple of draws in there. Someone was tweeting on this day we beat Blackburn 7-1 when Berbatov scored 5.
It wasn't on this day, was it?
It was 2 days ago.
2 days ago. But, this week, Berbatov scored 2
5-2
goals.
United and feeling absolute hammering. Oosh. 5-all to Simon Bennett. You get great odds on that.
Do you think there's going to be goals this weekend? United versus Southampton.
I do.
Fancy us to score a lot of goals?
I do.
We've not done bad recently in scoring goals. We've actually looked quite good going forward, especially with Bruno on a bit of form.
He's all right, isn't he?
He's all right. He's still scoring a few. Seeing something like, isn't he the 4th quickest player in the Premier League era to get to 20 goals? And the only players ahead of him are Van Nistelrooy, Van Persie, and Zlatan.
He were good. And
they were, out of all of Fergie's time, they were his goal scorers coming in straight away. And the whole time.
Midfield, if we'd have signed a striker that did the numbers Bruno's been doing, we'd be pulling our puds over him. The fact this guy's a midfielder, I know he's a number 10, but he's still a midfielder.
Yeah, he still tracks back, he still runs a bit that way.
He does. He does actually. Yeah. And he actually grafts. There's so many times you see him just on the edge of the box making a tackle. He's absolutely double mint.
A few more comments in here. 3-0, Martial hat-trick. We're going for. What do you reckon? Martial, fancy him get a goal. Bit more space for him this weekend. Higher line.
There will be space.
Yeah, so I can see that.
Wouldn't mind Cavani bagging.
Yeah, Cavani, I think he could do with a couple more goals because he has looked good. Only the 1 goal so far against Everton. I think he needs to get a couple to get himself going a bit and get him into that thing. Mason Greenwood, number 4, Mason Greenwood. He mentioned a little bit in the press conference about Mason Greenwood again. He got asked about
you all right?
Whether or not. What do you mean? He got asked about Mason Greenwood. And do you think he's got a chance of starting this weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you think he will?
No. It depends on what he's looking at with Rashford. If he's like, yeah, Rashford's in bits.
So you don't see maybe him going back to the front 3 of last season, maybe even dropping Cavani out of it. Rashford, Martial, Greenwood as his starting 3? No, even with the high line?
No, I think Cavani deserves the start, and I think he offers us something that, like he said, he literally said it in the press conference, he offers us something that the other lads haven't got. I think Mason, Martial and Marcus, they're not identical players, but they fulfill a similar role in the team. None of them can fucking head a ball, for starters. Really? And, all right, you go, oh, he's good at header. Yeah, but, right, don't mean he can head a fucking ball, does it? Yeah. None of them can really hold the ball up. They're all, they've all got different qualities, but they're a similar archetype of player. Yeah. The reason why Igalo came in, and everyone was like, fucking he's all right, isn't he? Because he's a different archetype of player. Cavani, obviously, is better than Igalo, but again, he represents a different style of number 9, and I think that him being in the team just gives us a different dimension. I think Martial and Rashford end up being right on top of each other when they played left wing and centre forward, and I think maybe moving one of them to the right with Cavani down the middle is a great shout. It gives a lot of, for starters, it gives us the width, because I think that we're too predictable. When you play Mata on the right, he just fucks off to the left. You play Lingard on the right, he just fucks off to the left. Even if you play Greenwood on the right, he's fucking off to the left.
And he cuts in constantly.
I think Marcus did real good job of holding his width, and when he holds his width, that allows space for Cavani to bring it down and bring others in, and it gives Martial space on the other side, and it gives him space by being that far out too. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that. I think, and it's obvious why we want a right winger. Yeah,
I think there's the one thing with that is that I think that United fans and the buzz around Marcus, if he is starting to play on the right, if we do see that this is something going forward, you need to realise that he's not going to score as many goals there. It isn't the position where this is how Marcus Rashford's going to score all his goals. He's better on the left-hand side. He's better cutting in. Like a lot of players are, right-footed forwards are better on the left-hand side in terms of scoring goals. But I think people need to kind of go, do you know what? He's doing a job for a team. You may not get the numbers straight away coming from that right-hand side, but it could be what we do. Finally, last point.
No, I've got the last point.
Oh,
Like the video, I'm going to come round your house and scrunch up all your cornflakes.
okay. Finally,
just
return of fans. This could be the last
Not
game,
for us, it won't.
the last game that United play where there isn't a chance of fans being played in terms of the Premier League.
Really?
Next week, West Ham could be a...
Oh, yeah, but we ain't getting fans at Old Trafford for ages.
No.
And I'm going to be honest with you, it'll be well shit.
It's not gonna be
For
fun.
starters, we ain't ever getting into Tier 1. I don't think there's going to be any cities that end up in Tier 1 unless they're fully tourist cities, and there ain't many of them, right? We might get into Tier 2, which is 2,000 fans. Do you know how shit 2,000 fans in Old Trafford's going to be?
Yeah, I've been there. The youth games, it's
Yeah,
not
but
that
youth
great.
games, you can sit next to your mate at a youth game. You're going to walk in with someone, they're going to fuck off 3/4 of the way around the stand. And you'll be like, I said, yeah, I'll have a pint. But they're not even serving beer.
You can't sing.
Can't sing, can't stand up. It'll be well shit. Honestly, it'll be the most, but I'll go if I get a ticket. But it's going to be the most weird experience ever, just sitting there like that on your own. And then you score, you go, I said I thought that was a good goal too. Sorry. Fuck off.
It's not going to be good,
Just toss it off. Can't sing, can't drink, can't go in with my mates. Just sit on my fucking own in the cold. What did you just say?
Let's not go there. Thank you for joining me and Steve today. Make sure, like Steve said multiple times, make sure you like the video. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you're not already going to join in at 10 o'clock tonight for the last ever Late Night Live, make sure you do it. Joe is wearing something absolutely... he's ridiculous, is what he is. Stunning.
Stunned.
Stunned. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you like the video. I've been Alex. That's been Steve.
Like the video, you slags.
See you later.
Head over to stretfordpaddock.bigcartel.com and check out the Paddock merch. And for a short time, you can get 20% off orders with 2 items or more using the code Paddock20. Go get on it.